Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all are having a good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Judge Morrow. The reset date will be August 8th.
Good afternoon, Ms. Strong. Thank you. August 8th. Okay, I know it's a little before 2 o'clock, but if we're ready to get started.
Yes, we're ready in courtroom 2, Judge.
Okay, let me see if everyone, and who do we have up first?
Position 14, Ms. Williams.
Good afternoon, Ms. Williams. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. You have been charged in case 23 CR 004591B with battery family violence. Let's see, Mr. Howard, is there a history?
Your Honor,
I was going to the breakout.
yes, Your Honor, before we get to the breakout, there are actually 3 requests that I put in the chat to everyone. This is a breakout as well as position number 2, and then we asked for position number 13 to be heard last.
Okay.
First the rest though.
All right, so let's wait until the end. I want to go in the breakout all at the same time, but I don't know if we only have, it looks like maybe 1 or 2 females, and I'm sure that the courtroom wants to dispense with them. So let's go into the breakout room right now and do the first 2 that need to go to the breakout room, and then at the end of the calendar, we'll go in for the other one. So who needs to go into the breakout room? Ms. Falk, Ms. Bickerstaff, Ms. Wills. Okay, so so the breakout room will be for position number 14 and position number 2.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so Ms. Grace, if you can place us in the breakout room, please.
Yes. Ms. Kim, are you going in? Yes. Okay. Thank you.
I meant to say yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, Ms. Williams. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. I've had an opportunity to discuss your case with your lawyer and with the state. You were charged with in 23 CR 004591B with battery family violence. The bond is going to be a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial, 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Annie Williams. You're to stay on any prescription medication that you're currently on. You're to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. And within 30 days of your release, you're to report to Clifton Springs Clinic. Okay? Good luck to you, Ms. Williams.
That's per judge.
Have a seat on the phone.
Yes, that's per judge, Mr. Howard. Who do we have next?
One second, Judge.
Okay,
Position 2.
okay, can we take Mr. Gregory last, please, along with position 13,
Yes.
Mr. Watts?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Position 7.
Okay,
Ms. Kendrick.
good afternoon, Ms. Kendrick. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 004589E with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Second arrest, 08 battery dismissed.
Okay. Ms. Tellerant, is this your case?
I apologize. Yes, Your Honor, it is.
Okay, you can proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident was alleged to have occurred on June 11th of 2023 at 1467 Rain Tree Drive, Apartment C in Roswell. The officers responded to the location I just advised. The victim, Mrs. Kayla Kendrick, K-A-Y-L-A, Kendrick, Kendrick, advised that the two got into an argument regarding the dishes. At that point, the victim reports that she was punched in the head, hit on her face and chest. The defendant also is alleged to have pulled her hair. The officers on scene observed redness and swelling to her head and fresh abrasions on her neck. The victim, in this case, did admit to also hitting the defendant, but she advises that it was self-defense. The victim also did try to leave and walk outside to defuse the situation, but the defendant followed her, hitting her into a parked car outside. The victim was finally able to get away from the situation, lock herself in the bathroom and call 911. The victim also stated that her father tried to intervene at one point to break up the altercation, but was unsuccessful. We're asking here, there is no bond. Currently, we're asking for a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services, no further contact with the victim, and that's Kayla Kendrick, 1-day anger awareness, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and we'd also like to sound for the victim if possible.
If Kayla Hendricks is present and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity. Okay, you said a $3,000 signature bond. Is that what you meant?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, any objection to any of that, Ms. Kim?
No objection to signature on bond. We just want to make sure it is through jail.
I normally send these cases through pretrial. What's the, why would you want it to go through the jail?
Pretrial is fine as well, as Your Honor.
Okay, and this Lane Street address, does she have a need to go back there? And who is Miss Hendrick to Miss Kayla Hendrick to Miss Jasmine Kendrick?
Actually, Kayla is a stepdaughter who is 18 years old. My client is married to her father, and her father's name is, yeah, my client does not want to have any contact with her. My client actually was attacked by her husband and stepdaughter together. Two people jumped on my client and she ran away and went to her parents' place ever since then, just to be safe. So no further contact, stay away. We have no objection.
Does she need to go back to the Lane Street address?
Just
To get
one
any-
time.
Okay, so it's gonna be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge, 1 day anger awareness, no further contact with Kayla Kendrick. Stay away from the Lane Street Drive address. She can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Kendrick.
Just position 1. Mr. Harvey.
I'm sorry, and this is Mr. Castaldi?
Yeah.
Okay, good afternoon, sir. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
I believe so. I might have some, I guess, things from my side for the case if I was a little more prepared, but I do suppose this works.
Okay, so you have an attorney that's here representing you today, sir. So you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. I'm happy to let you speak with the attorney if you think that there's something else that you want to let them know that they do not tell me about, but give them the opportunity to represent you, okay? You have been charged in case 23 CR 004595J with loitering and prowling. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Third arrest. Last arrest was in April. Disorderly conduct, simple battery. That's a pretrial bond. And a 2018 DUI. That's it.
Ms. Bickerstaff? You're on mute.
Yes, sorry about that. So this incident occurred yesterday at 1870 Wilshire Glen in Alpharetta, Georgia. And this is where Miss Nastrin Anderson called officers advising that a male, the defendant, was following her daughter, her 13-year-old daughter, and her friend in the neighborhood of Wilshire Glen. And the girls advised officers that when they entered their neighborhood, they thought the defendant was a tree that was standing, was a tree by the brick sign. But when he moved and began following them, you know, they realized that it was a male. The girls and Miss Anderson explained to officers that as they were walking, the girls decided to turn left instead of turning to their home. And Mr. Anderson followed behind them. Mr. Anderson, but the defendant followed behind them. Miss Anderson advised that the defendant eventually diverted his direction when a resident of the neighborhood began walking towards him because he was walking his dog. And so when officers arrived, they saw the defendant sitting near the entrance of the neighborhood. They noted that the defendant tried to leave the scene when the officers arrived with their lights and sirens. The defendant does not live in the neighborhood. He lives in Swanee, Georgia. So for all of these reasons, the state's recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond and to stay away from the Wilshire Glen neighborhood, as specifically the incident location at 1870 Wilshire Glen, and as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. And I would just like to highlight for you the case that pre-trial mentioned, the simple battery and disorderly conduct. That case number is 23 CR 002221J. And that's where the defendant received a $4,000 signature bond through pre-trial services. And I believe it was with Judge Law.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Wells?
Thank you, Judge. My client denies the allegations as alleged. He states that he was leaving a restaurant after eating. He called a ride share. He was waiting for his ride. It may have happened to coincide with these two young ladies walking by, but he in no way was attempting to follow or was following anyone. I believe he may have been discriminated against for being in the neighborhood and perhaps looking like he doesn't live there. But he states, again, he denies the allegations. He was not loitering or prowling. He was waiting for his ride. And he was seated on the curb when police arrived to his location. So he does have housing. He's currently living in a hotel that his family or parents are helping pay for, that is up and coming. He is currently unemployed at this time. So I would request a signature bond, and he does qualify to be represented by the public defender's office.
$2,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the Wilshire Glen, 1870 Wilshire Glen. No further contact with Ms. Anderson, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, I kind of wanted to say something, but
No, thank you.
I'm not allowed to speak though.
No, sir, let's go.
All right, at all? So I'm not allowed to speak at all and actually have something to say though.
You good, man. I explained to you. You good.
Have a seat.
But it's not how court usually works if I.
Have a seat.
Go to the second or the third row. I don't want-
Hey, Judge.
Understood.
Yes.
No, have a word.
So we have a whole team prepared to move people for space and population reasons. Jalen
Okay.
Gregory, is there any way we can do him now because transfer is waiting on him?
Are we ready for Mr. Gregory? Have you had the opportunity to speak with his mother, Ms. Wills?
She did have one question that I responded to. But I have had the opportunity to speak with her, yes. And if she's
Okay.
on the call, I would ask if there's anything that she would like to add, if she would be given the opportunity to do that.
Okay, we can bring him up.
Thank you, please.
That's position 2.
Yes, Mr. Gregory, good afternoon. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Gregory, you've been charged in case 23 CR 004583G with terroristic threats and acts and fear evasion. I've had an opportunity to discuss your case with the solicitor and with your attorney. Your bond is going to be for the terroristic threats, a $4,000 good bond, for the fear evasion, a $1,000 good bond, making for a total of a $5,000 good bond. You're to stay away from the MARTA station at 70 Hamilton E. Holmes, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. And your next court hearing is going to be the MH court on Thursday, July 27th. So in 2 days, you will see another judge in regards to this, okay? Good luck to you, Mr. Gregory.
And just for the record, I would object to the surety bond. My client has requested a signature bond. His mother is present. And she did state that she also was in agreement with him participating in MHC, and also did inquire as to whether a signature bond could be granted at a later date, which I did advise that a modification could be requested at that time.
Okay, very good. And as I explained, as far as the courts was concerned, that this is Mr. Gregory's second terroristic threats. The first terroristic threats, he received a $2,000 good bond. This is his second time before the court. As such, that bond would be $4,000. And because of his situation, we'll give him the opportunity to see someone at the MH court. And as you did say, Ms. Wills, if they believe that a modification is in order at that time, then it can be granted. Okay, good luck to you, Mr. Gregory.
Your Honor, I've also sent an email to the that court letting them know the state does not object to a modification subsequent to the interview on the 27th.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Ms. Falk.
Thank you.
Position 3, Your Honor.
Okay. Announce your last name for me, sir, please.
Exwagbe.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Exwagbe. My name is Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 004594C with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
7 total. Last arrest was 08, suspended license. And before that was 04, suspended license.
Okay. Ms. Bickerstaff?
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident occurred yesterday at the Chick-fil-A parking lot located at 1100 Northside Drive. Excuse me. And this is where the victim is Ayanu, and I'm sorry, I'm going to mispronounce the name, but it's spelled Olukayode. And her first name is spelled Iyanu. This is where Miss Ayanu advised officers that she and her boyfriend, the defendant whom she lives with, were involved in a quarrel. They were in the car and the defendant asked Miss Ayu, who raised you? And she replied with an insult saying something about his mother. And so the defendant slapped her. And so she slapped him back. And then the two began striking each other in the car. So then the defendant parked the car in the Chick-fil-A's parking lot, and then he throws Miss Ayu's phone out of the car. And so Miss Ayu jumps out of she gets out of the car to get her broken phone. And then the defendant follows her. While Miss Ayu is out of the car, she has the defendant's keys. And so the defendant follows her and he places her in a headlock in the middle of the street. And so Miss Ayu told officers that she bit the defendant in an effort to break free of the chokehold he had her in. The officers noted that Miss Ayu was bleeding from the quarrel between them two. And when officers spoke with the defendant, the events were similar. So for all of these reasons, the state's recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond. We're asking for a 1-day anger awareness course, no further contact with Miss Ayu, as well as to stay away from the home address. I don't have that address because we weren't able to speak with the victim today, as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. Yes, and I would like to sound for Miss Ayu. I don't believe she's on Zoom, but still I would like to sound for her.
Ms. Ayanu, if you are with the court this afternoon and you wish to speak, now is your opportunity to do so. Doesn't appear so, Ms. Bickerstaff. Ms. Wills?
Thank you. My client does deny the allegations as alleged. He states that the complaining witness in this case was the aggressor, that she's generally aggressive and has been that way throughout the duration of the relationship. But he states on that this day that they had been engaged in a verbal disagreement. She was upset. And she became aggressive and started attacking my client. She attempted to jump out of his vehicle while it was moving, which is why he stopped at the Chick-fil-A. But she was thrashing around the vehicle, hitting my client. He had several injuries where she bit him, cut him, which also required medical attention. And my client reports that the complaining witness was also his cross defendant, that she was also arrested after this incident. I would ask for a signature on bond. My client is 41 years old. He's resided in Georgia for the past, over the past 3 years. He's a real estate investor as well as a music artist. He states that he and Miss Ayanu, they do not live together. She just has a few things at his home. So he would like for her to be escorted with a law enforcement to pick up the whatever that she has remaining at his home. His history is very remote and was also nonviolent. So again, I would request a signature bond and we have no objection to no further contact.
So this was a dual arrest. If that's the case, do we know what happened to Miss Ayanu? Was her charges more egregious than his?
I'm not sure, but I'm looking right now to see if I can find her in the system. One second. She's not coming up. I'm not finding her in Odyssey.
Okay.
Oh, Your Honor, I'm not sure.
Okay. It's gonna be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Ms. Ayanu. Stay away from her address, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, sir.
It's crazy that I have a 4-year-old. His name is.
Oh, okay, hold on, sir. So, and if your child with Miss Ayana?
Oh, no. I was just saying the name. You guys have the same name backwards, pretty much. His name is Morrow. His name is Morrow. His name is Morrow as well. It's kind of crazy. Yes. All right.
Okay,
Thank
good
you,
luck
Your
to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Position 12, Mr. Tate. Second row, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Tate. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Tate, you've been charged in case 23 CR 004593G with cruelty to animals. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
18 total. Last arrest was in May for simple battery. Got to open terrorist threats out of Superior Court, 2 counts. 22 SC 184411. 2015 probation, 2013 stolen property, possession of marijuana conviction. I don't know what happened with that May charge. I didn't look it up. That's it though.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Tellerman?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident was alleged to have occurred on March 18, 2021 at 538 Engler Street, Engler Court in Atlanta. He currently has no bond. The officers in this case responded to the aforementioned location. They observed an emaciated pit bull canine deceased and lying on bloody linen. The animal was locked in a bedroom. The officers were advised that the defendant and another person were in charge of that dog, and they only checked on that animal once in a period of months. We're asking for a $5,000 surety bond, not to be able to possess any animals of any kind, or possess or own, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Yes, Ms. McLeod.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Tate is 40 years old. The warrant states that this incident happened in 2021, Your Honor. My client tells me, and the warrant does state that there was an anonymous caller who tipped off for the authorities that there was this animal. He tells me that he was the one who made the call. He tells me that the dog belongs to his ex-girlfriend, and he was the one who called because he had gone back to the house where she was living with someone else, and he observed the animal, and he was the one who called to say that the animal was there. So he was quite surprised. Based on what the warrant says, it apparently says that the mother of his ex-girlfriend alleges that the dog was owned by him and his ex. But he tells me that the dog was actually his ex's dog, and that he was the one who called to tip them off that there was this animal that was being mistreated at the location, Your Honor. So I just wanted to put this out. Since this incident happened 2 years ago, I would ask the court to give my client a signature bond so he can get out of jail. Because I think he has a good defense, because it does say that an anonymous caller called and tipped them off. He did not see the warrant, Your Honor, but he was able to tell me that he was the one who called.
Okay, it's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. No animals while out on bond, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond either. Good luck to you, Mr. Tate.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Great.
Welcome.
Position 4, Mr. Jane Lewis.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Jean-Louis. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 004590F with criminal trespass and pedestrian in the roadway. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
24 total. Last arrest was in June for trespass. On probation, 3 counts of sale of cocaine, possession of a Schedule 3, 4, or 5 controlled substance with intent. Got theft by taking, possession of drug-related objects, reckless conduct, another trespass and public drunk out of state court. 2018, possession of meth, heroin, possession of a controlled substance conviction. 2010, obstruction, possession of a firearm or a knife during the commission of conviction. That's it.
Yes, Ms. Telleran.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident was alleged to have occurred on July 24th of 2023 at 9955 Old Dogwood Road in Roswell. That's the Studio 6 Motel. The defendant currently has a $1,200 surety bond, $600 per, which is $600 per count. The officers in this case were dispatched to Studio 6 Motel. They met with the management, who stated that the defendant was issued a warning to not return on July 1st of this year. Officers located the defendant on Old Dogwood Road, jumping multiple times across the roadway and yelling into the air. The defendant admitted to law enforcement that he had been on motel property. The defendant appears to be under the influence of drugs or having a mental health crisis. The defendant also has an active warrant out of Roswell for an FTA on disorderly. He was cleared by North Fulton Hospital. The defendant was given stay-away orders in August of 2020, as well as in 2023. As far as his risk of reoffending, he has case 23 CR 0036Y3Y, criminal trespass, public drunkenness, where he was given 12 months probation with 32 days in jail on June 27th of 2023, as well as 23 CR 002920F, reckless conduct, possession of drug objects, where he was given 12 months and he served 44 days in jail on June 1st of this year. And we're asking that his bond remain as set, stay away from Studio 6 Motel, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and also that he have a visit with social workers.
Yes,
Hotel is that? Which hotel is that again? Was that Motel
Yes, Your Honor.
6?
No, Your Honor, it's Studio 6.
Okay. Studio 6. Okay. Ms. Kim?
yes. I would like to request for a signature on bond for this criminal trespass. Your Honor, my client does have a Roswell address, and he has been here in Georgia for the last 23 years, ever since he was 18 years old. And Your Honor, he is currently employed at Don and Howard Supply as a forklift operator, and he really want to keep his job. He graduated from high school, and his income is sufficient enough so that we don't have to, the public defender services is not qualified for him. He's not qualified for our service, and we would like to request for signature on bond. Thank you.
Okay. Can you unmute for me, courtroom 2, please? Mr. Jean-Louis, if I let you out, you can't go back to that Studio 6 hotel,
Yes, Your
okay? You
Yes,
understand
Your
that?
Yes, Your
Okay,
Honor.
so I know you have a hold, so I'm going to release you to that hold. But if you go back to that Studio 6, you're just going to be right back here, and I'm not going to let you go next time, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so for the criminal trespass, it's going to be a $1,500 signature bond through the jail. For the pedestrian and the roadway, a $500 signature bond through the jail. Makes for a total of a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from Studio 6 on Old Dogwood Road, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Yes,
Stay
Your
out of
Honor.
the roadway also, Mr. Jean-Louis, okay?
Thank you so very much, Your Honor.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
You have a blessed one.
You also.
Position 5.
And this is Mr. Kearney. Is that right?
Yes, Your
Can you
Honor.
hear me?
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure this is position 5, Mr. Carney.
That's correct.
Okay, good afternoon, sir. I'm Judge Eric Mora. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
I do.
Okay, thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 004584C with simple battery in a public transit vehicle or station. Does he have a history, Mr. Howard?
31. Last was 2021, failure to appear. 2019, battery by a prisoner. 2017, same charge, conviction. 2016, battery conviction. 2016, FTA, vandalism conviction. 2015, vandalism conviction. 2015, criminal damage to property conviction. 2012, trespass conviction. That's it.
Ms. Bickerstaff?
Yes, so this incident occurred July 11th of this year at 641 West Peachtree Street. And this is where Mr. Barry Nation was sitting on the northbound train and the defendant entered the train. Mr. Nation and the defendant, they were about 6 seats apart. And while on the train, the defendant said out loud, "I'll piss in you crackers' face." And then Mr. Nation, he didn't engage with the defendant. And then as the defendant was exiting the train, he spat on Mr. Nation. So for these reasons, the state's recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond, 1-day anger awareness course, no further contact with Mr. Barry Nation, and to stay away from 641 West Peachtree Street, as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Our office was not able to speak to Mr. Barry, but I would still like the sound for him if he is on the Zoom.
Mr. Nation, if you are with us this afternoon and wish to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Doesn't appear so, Ms. Bickerstaff. Ms. Wills?
Thank you. My client is 43 years old. He is currently unemployed. So he does qualify, will qualify to be represented by the Public Defender's Office. He is experiencing some residential challenges. However, he has been staying with friends most recently and does have plans to live with family if and when he is released. He does deny the allegations as alleged. I would request a signature on bond, as any bond for my client would be the equivalent of no bond. And if your honor is inclined or not inclined to grant the signature bond, if it is a surety bond, I would object to the anger awareness course as my client is unable to afford it at this time.
It's going to be a $2,000 surety bond, no further contact with Mr. Nation, stay away from 641 West Peachtree Street, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Ms. Wills, if you will also have a social worker visit him to assess for any homelessness or any other health problems that he might be having. All
Yes.
right,
Yes.
thank you. Good luck to you, Mr. Kearney.
Position 6, Mr. Kemp.
Good afternoon, Mr. Kemp. I'm Judge Eric Mora. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Kemp, you've been charged in case 23 CR 004586H with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
11 total. Last arrest was July of last year. Battery DV, simple battery out of South Fulton. On probation for terrorist threats. 22 SC 183476. They gave him 2 years probation for that back in January of this year. What else? 2022. Okay, that's the battery, simple battery conviction. 2014 and 2013 probation violations. 2011 burglary conviction. That's it.
Good afternoon, Ms. Hudak. How are you this afternoon?
I'm doing well, Your Honor. How are you?
Good, thank you. This your case?
It is, Your Honor. And this case stems from an incident on February 27th of 2023. Officers responded to 4001 Lakemont Drive, apartment 31H, because of a report that several people were occupying a vacant apartment unit. Once on location, officers knocked on the door. Mr. Kemp answered and stated that he was not the leaseholder. and that his girlfriend, Ms. Brown, was. Ms. Brown was also in the apartment and stated she was not the leaseholder and just came to retrieve property. Officers ultimately determined that another male was located in the apartment. Officers ran the trio of names through their local system and learned that Mr. Kemp had been issued a criminal trespass citation to stay away from Elite at City View on 6/21/2012 and 9/22/2015. Due to those previous criminal trespass citations, officers took Mr. Kemp into custody. Your Honor, on this case, we are asking for a $500 surety bond, stay away from Elite at City View, which is the property located at 4001 Lakemont Drive, no drugs or alcohol while out on bond. And again, I would, the reason we're asking for a surety bond, Your Honor, is because he still is on probation and involved in criminal activity. Thank you.
Ms. Wells.
Thank you. My client is 31 years old. He is a native of Georgia. He is currently employed as a construction worker. He does qualify to be represented by the Public Defender's Office. He has one child under the age of 18. I would request a signature bond in this case. My client also has a VO or a violation of probation hold out of Fulton County. So he will not be released anytime soon until that issue is resolved. He does understand that he cannot return back to that property. And I did get an address from him where he is currently living if he were to be released, which is different from the alleged incident location.
Okay, it's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the Elite at City View. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Don't go back to that Lakemont Drive address, Mr. Kemp. You understand?
Okay.
All right. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
Welcome.
Position 8.
Good afternoon, Mr. Lett. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Lett. You've been charged in case 23 CR 0045885C with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
This is 6 arrests. Last was 2014, failed to appear. I didn't see any violent history.
Okay, Ms. Hudak?
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. This incident did occur on July 24th, 2023. Officers responded to a report of a domestic assault that occurred at 415 Fairburn Road, apartment 1709 in the city of Atlanta. Officers were told that the man involved was wearing gray pants and a white jacket, and he was assaulting his girlfriend. Upon arrival, officers made contact with the defendant, Mr. Lett. Mr. Lett told officers that he and Ms. Freeman, Ms. Tiara Freeman, the victim in this case, got into a verbal argument because she found a condom in his possession and accused him of cheating. He stated that she got in his personal space and he lightly pushed her and left the apartment. Officers spoke to the victim, Ms. Freeman, who stated that she called police after Mr. Lett became defensive and irate at the cheating accusations. She stated that he then pushed her into the wall, forced her into the ground, and then fled the scene. Ms. Freeman and Mr. Lett share a child and do reside in the same apartment. Our office was able to make contact with the victim, Ms. Freeman. She says that this is not the first time that he has been violent, but the first time that she's called police. We do believe that she will be participating on Zoom, and we would ask that you sound for the victim at the appropriate time. We are requesting a $2,500 surety bond. No contact with Ms. Freeman. That is her request. She has moved to the residence of her mother, and we would ask for a stay away order from that address. It is 5290 Binford Place, Atlanta, Georgia, 30331. Because there is a minor child, we would ask for a third-party transfer of the child for custody purposes, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. And now, Your Honor, if it's appropriate to sound for the victim to do so.
Ms. Freeman, if you are on the line this afternoon and wish to address the court, I will need for you to activate your camera, unmute yourself, and I'll have to swear you in. Is this Ms. Freeman right here?
Yes, this is Sierra Freeman.
Yes, good afternoon, Ms. Freeman. Can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear from the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, you put your hand down, ma'am. Thank you. What would you like to tell the court?
On the other day, when I called the police, the reason why I called the police is because when I was washing clothes, I asked him where the condom came from because it was only his jeans in the washer. I washed 2 other loads beforehand, and it was both our clothes. So when I washed that load, it was only his jeans in the washer. So I asked him, where did the condom come from? He tells me, oh, it's not his condom. It's not. Okay, so I'm asking, where did it come from? Where did it come from? So after he lied, I said, okay. So he said, okay, I left. I went to the store. I come back. I started packing my stuff. I pack my stuff and I tell him that I'm done with the relationship and he can have everything. That's what I told him. So he began scrolling on the phone on the bed with the baby. He's on the bed scrolling on the phone. He's started mumbling something. I said, no, because that's not cool. You really out here doing what you're doing, and I'm out here doing all this stuff for you, in the family.
Your Honor, I would object to all of this background information.
Okay, so I got the point. Ms. Freeman, tell me what happened.
When we were getting into it, and I asked him about the situation, he proceeded to get in my face. That's when it first started. He proceeded to when I was kneeled down trying to pack my stuff, he got in my face and he's right here. He's telling me he ain't do it. If he did, he'll tell me, and he really sick of these and this and that. So after he moved, I moved and went to the living room. After I went to the living room, I went outside. I went outside and got on the phone. I'm on the phone. I proceeded to get text messages from him. As I'm getting text messages, he is telling me, oh, you need to be there by 5 o'clock. And I'm telling him, he's saying, my afraid it's worth it. And I told him to go text the female he was just waiting to, just buy. And as I'm telling him bye, he texted my phone and says, I have a trick for you. After he texted my phone and said, I have a trick for you, I said, bye. He responded and said, bet. So moments later, he comes outside. He has the gun in his armpit. He has his phone in his hand. I'm in the car. He's standing like this in front of my car. And he says, you talking all that, I'm in the house and you can get this shit. So I said, what? So I opened the door trying to make sure.
Your Honor, again, I would ask Miss the complaining witness to spare us all the background information leading up to
this. I'm sorry, but this is a part of it because it started outside.
Okay, but just tell me did he do something to you, Ms. Freeman?
Outside, yes, he did. He smacked the AirPod out of my ear. That's what I'm getting.
Okay, so just tell me that. Did he do anything else besides snatch the AirPod out of your ear?
When he smacked the AirPod out of my ear and we went in the house, yes, he was in my face and we were having a conversation. So when I went in the house and he sat on the couch, he told me to get off the couch, move and get out of his way. He said, I don't care if you go across the room, you go get in the chair. I do not care. Just move from right here. He's already like this. It's like this. So I'm looking at him. He's like, bro, I'm telling you, move, get from in front of me. So I move from in front of him. I go stand in front of the bedroom door. In front of the bedroom door, the couch is in front of the bedroom door. In front of the bedroom door is our child's potty. He did not like that. He throws what's in his hand, picks the potty up and throws it at me, grabs me by my head, pushes me into the wall, from the wall to the couch to the floor. After he moves from his hands from my head, he moves and put one arm over here, putting pressure on this side of my body. And this side, I was able to swerve away because when he's pushed his hand back to punch me, that's when I balled up and started screaming for help. When I started screaming for help, that's when he got off of me. So when he got off of me, I immediately ran into the bedroom where our child was and grabbed him. No shoes, no purse, no nothing, to grab the baby, to get the keys. When I realized I didn't have no shoes on, I tried to go back and get my shoes. I did not go get the shoes I originally had on because they were next to him.
Okay, Ms. Freeman, Ms. Freeman, I think I've got the point. So you don't want to have anything to do with them, right?
She also he tried to punch me right after that with the baby in my arm.
Okay. So my question was, you don't want to have anything to do with him. You don't want him around you. Is that right?
No, I do not.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Freeman. I appreciate it. Ms. Wills?
Thank you. My client absolutely denies the allegations as alleged by Ms. Freeman. He denies that there was any physical contact, but he does state that it is true that she has moved out of the home. He doesn't desire to have any further contact with her. This did happen at his home, and again, they no longer live together. My client's arrest history is very remote. 2014, a failure to appear. He is currently employed by Metal Plate Galvanizer as a receiver. He's been there for the past year, and he will not qualify to be represented by the Public Defender's Office. And he is an Atlanta native. So I would again request a signature bond, and regardless or in spite of the animated story that was presented to court, my client has only been charged with simple battery.
Okay, it's going to be a $2,000 signature bond for pretrial per the judge, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Ms. Freeman, stay away from her residence, the Bedford Place residence. There's to be third-party transfer for visitation of the minor child, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Lett. You also, Ms. Freeman. Who do we have next?
Position 9.
Good afternoon, Mr. Lightsey. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yeah.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 004588J with 3 counts of harassing communications. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
I got 4 total. 2009 was the last for probation violation. 06, possession of marijuana.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Hudak?
Thank you, Your Honor. This incident does stem from emails sent March 13th, 2022 up until July of 2022. On that date, July 12th, 2022, officers responded to 2 Martin Luther King Drive to take a report of alarming emails that victims Amy Jacobs, Susan Adams, and Sherry Howard were receiving from the accused after he was fired in March of 2022. Some of the emails contained statements like racist white coward and racist white bitch in the body and the heading of the emails, and included threats to kill Ms. Howard. Continuous emails were sent requesting a response, and when none was given, Mr. Lightsey continued to send emails. All 3 women received emails at their work email addresses from the email address demariolightsey1@gmail.com. Your Honor, in this case, we are asking for a $3,000 signature bond. That's giving credit to the fact that these incidents did happen in 2022 and there have not been any recent emails. However, we would still ask for no contact with Amy Jacobs, Susan Adams, and Sherry Howard. Stay away from 2 MLK Drive in the city of Atlanta. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. I would also ask that you sound for the victim. And Your Honor, to clarify, we would ask for a $1,000 signature bond on each count.
Any objection to any of that, Ms. Kim?
I just want to clarify that it is from jail, and I believe that one of the complaining witness, Ms. Sherry Howard, is on the Zoom.
Okay.
So I don't mind her to.
All right, so if Ms. Jacobs, Ms. Howard, or Ms. Adams is on the Zoom call and would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Okay. It appears that if they're here, they don't want to address the court, Ms. Kim. As such, it's going to be $1,000 signature bond through the jail on each count, which makes for a $3,000. Okay, yes, Ms. Howard, raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, you can put your hand down. Thank you, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
Could it also be noted that he is to stay away from Georgia State University? That's
Okay.
the other property where I work.
Any objection, Ms. Kim?
No, no objection, Your Honor.
Okay, yes, Ms. Howard, we'll have him also stay away from Georgia State. Anything further, ma'am?
No, thank you.
Okay, no, thank you. We appreciate you being here this afternoon. It'll be $1,000 signature bond through the jail, which makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Ms. Jacobs, Ms. Adams, or Ms. Howard. Stay away from 2 MLK Drive and Georgia State University. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Lightsey.
Position 10, Mr. Maddox.
Good afternoon, Mr. Maddox. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Maddox, you've been charged in case 23 CR 004587Y with loitering and prowling. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Ninth arrest, 2021 was the last for burglary. That's open in Superior Court, 21 CP 199053. And 1996 domestic battery. That's it.
Ms. Hudak?
Thank you, Your Honor. This incident occurred recently, just July 24th. Officers responded to a call at approximately 4:12 a.m. to 3005 First Avenue, Southwest Atlanta. The officers got a call from the victim, Mr. Brandon Mayers, saying that he was sleeping when he heard someone was trying to open his bedroom window. Mr. Mayers opened the window and asked the man what he was doing. The man, later identified as Jared Maddox, responded that he was, quote, looking for his dog. Mr. Mayers said that they spoke for about 5 minutes and then Mr. Maddox walked away. Mr. Mayers described the man as a black male wearing a red hat, and he also stated that when he was talking to him, he had a hammer in his possession. Mr. Mayers told officers that he had seen the defendant earlier in the week also looking for his dog in the neighborhood, but at that time, the defendant did not attempt to enter into his house. Officers began a search and located the defendant, who matched the description, approximately 2 blocks away. They brought the accused back to Mr. Mayers and was positively identified as the man who was attempting to open the window. At the time of the arrest, the accused did not have a hammer in his possession. Your Honor, Mr. Maddox actually does have a number of aliases. And according to our NCIC and GCIC reports, he does have a retail theft conviction from 1984 in Chicago, another theft conviction from 1984 in Chicago, a theft from 1990 in Chicago, and then certainly the pending burglary in Fulton County, as was mentioned by pretrial services earlier. Your Honor, we are very concerned because these are people's homes and it's occurring while they are sleeping. For that reason, we're asking for a $3,000 surety bond, no further contact with Brandon Mayers, a stay away from the address at 3005 First Avenue, Atlanta, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. I also believe that Mr. Mayers might be on the phone, and we would ask that you sound for the victim.
Mr. Mayor, and this is on Mr. Mayers on Mayers B right here. Yes, would you
Yes.
like to address the court, Mr. Mayers?
Sure, Your Honor.
Okay.
So,
Oh, hold on. Raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Yes. All right. What would you like to tell the court?
So what initially happened was last week between Monday and Wednesday around 4, 6 o'clock, probably 5 o'clock. He was on my rental property. He walked down my driveway, got all the way to under my carport with a dog. He came down my carport with a dog. And I was watching him the whole time outside of my window. I opened my window then, and I proceeded to ask him, what is he doing? Where is he going? Because he was going on the side of my house towards my tenants, towards like my tenants unit. And then he told me then that he was looking for his lost 2-year-old standard size golden doodle. I told him, hey, you could have knocked on my door and just walk on my property on the side of my house. I don't know you, you don't know me, something to go down. And then I went outside and I tried to assist with, helping him find his dog. I asked him, what did it look like? And if I seen it, could I have a point of contact? He told me no, he had already called the cops and whatnot. If he had a tracker on his dog and he would have found it or whatnot, whether it be that the dog was there with the collar on or whether the collar was around that area. So that was last week. Monday morning, 4 o'clock, I am sleeping in my room. I hear my window open. I open the curtain and he has a hammer that he opened the window with. I raised the window all the way up and I proceed to ask him what was he doing then. And he was talking about he was looking for his dog. He didn't move with a sense of urgency. We went back and forth through this window for several minutes. And then eventually I went outside to confront him. And then he was rambling about whatever and told me that a man by the name of Dennis told him to come to my house to look for my dog. And then that's when I called the police. Well, yesterday I was walking around my neighborhood, found the hammer a few feet from where he was arrested, and also bumped into another neighbor within the neighborhood who notified me that he's a night crawler and like he likes to lurk around at night and has used this I lost my dog little pony trick before. But he's been causing a problem around my area, Hateville, whatsoever. I'm sparing this dude. That's all.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayers. I appreciate it. We appreciate you being here. Ms. Kim.
Yes. My client is 58 years old, Your Honor, and he was born in Illinois, and he was here around 2021, and yet he was gone to another state, and he came back about 8 months ago. He is working, he actually is working on his house he recently bought. So he's upgrading, he's building the fence, and he's working on the landscaping. And he does have a bachelor's degree, and he has a relationship with, he's actually married legally. And right now, he's not qualified for public defender's services. I do understand there's one open case pending. However, all the other cases were very remote, Your Honor. And my client really was looking for a dog, and we would like to request for a signature on bond. And if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we ask for a $1,000 maximum bond. Thank you.
Your Honor, I do just want to point out, I don't know if pretrial stated this, but on that 21 CP 199053 case, that burglary, he did get a UJR level 1, stay away from 260 Moreland Way. So he has previously gotten a signature bond, which is why the state is requesting a surety bond.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Falk. All right. Ms. Kim, I think that your client might be in need of a social worker visit also. So I would like for you to arrange that for the court. It's going to be $1,000 surety bond. No further contact with Mr. Mayers. stay away from the First Avenue address, social worker visit, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. If he doesn't get out by the SAP calendar on August 8th, I want you, if you would have the social worker report to me at that time, please.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, for any MH issues or any residential challenges that he might be having. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor. I don't think that he has a residential challenge, Your Honor. He has his house.
He says, okay.
Yes.
All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Maddox. You also, Mr. Mayers, we appreciate you being here.
So, Your Honor, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
This dude lives right around the corner from me. If this man shows up on my property for the third time, and let's just say it's at 3:00 a.m., what should I just call the cops? And
of course, that's what you should call the police, Mr. Mayers. They'll handle the situation. And if that's the case, well, we can't what if, but if it does happen, call the police, and next time he'll be addressed. But he's been instructed not to have any further contact with you or your property. Okay. All right.
Yes.
Good luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Position 13, Mr. Watts.
Courtroom 2.
Position 13, can you hear me?
Now I can. I couldn't before. This is Mr. Watts.
Yes.
Okay, and is this the last case that we have there?
Yes, sir.
Position
Also,
11.
Medical reset for position 11.
Okay, so position 11 will be reset until tomorrow, 7/26. We need a breakout room, I believe, for Mr. Watts. So we're going to go back into a breakout room. Who needs to be in that room?
As the state previously stated, we are not requesting a breakout room. If the jail can clear out the remaining persons, and we can come off the YouTube if necessary, but we are not in need of a breakout.
Okay.
Your Honor,
I
apologize.
Was there an MH issue?
Not, I don't believe so, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. So are you able, okay, there. So let's see. Ms. Grace, if we can stop the live stream, please.
Okay.